What's going on, theorists? Welcome back to Theory Hammer, where today I'm going to take you guys on a journey through my Firestorm assault list. I'm going to start right off by saying this is a bad army. It's not good, but I like it. And the Firestorm Assault Force is a lot of fun to play. This is kind of a thematic army, if you want to call it that. But hey, it's what we got. I've had a lot of success with it. I did lose, so far, just one game with it, and that was to Derek Apesh, #1 Grey Knight player in the world, I believe, if not the United States. I think he has a battle report on our channel that went over our game as well. It was horrible, made a lot of mistakes. Great player, he totally deserved that win. Anyway, I'm here, and I'm going to tell you what we got in this list and why I picked the units that I did. Now, if you're wondering why these guys are painted white, I'm wondering the same thing. Don't ever prime things white, it's awful. But we're going to go over the list today. I'm going to tell you all the upgrades that everything has and kind of how the list plays and why I designed it the way that I did. Now, you guys may be wondering, who the hell is this Kevbot guy that just randomly appeared on YouTube? Like, what is this channel? What is going on here? Who is this poser? Well, I come from the East Coast. I know Nick Nadavati personally. I used to go to his store. That's actually how we met. I also know Jack Harpster. I've known Andrew Gagno since I was like 14. Used to kick his ass back then, actually. But not anymore. He's much better than me now. I also know Matt DeFranza. I know Justin Cook, both of which are Nova Grand Champions. I think Justin has won a couple of times. Maybe Matt has as well. I played Sasha once, and I was able to pull a win out during an 8th edition when I was using Yunari. So I've met and I've played against some of the best out there. Some I've won, some I've lost. But just to give you guys a little indication of me and my skill level, I guess I want to say. So some of the things I say will be wrong, some of the things I say will be right, but just know that I've been here for a long time and I have a competitive mind when it comes to this game. So you can ask any of those guys about Kevbot. They will tell you who I am and what I'm all about. So I've been around the block, guys. I know what's up, and I've been on the competitive scene since about 5th edition. Best I ever did was I won Bracket 4 at Nova, so nothing crazy to write home about there. I have picked up some wins at some other GTs in my day, but you know, lately I'm more just interested in playing the game for, I want to say for fun. That's not really the case. I play competitively, but I don't meta chase anymore because it costs way too much money, okay? There's way too many boxes full of things. And you know, I can only play one army at a time. So, anyway, my Marine army. Let's go over my Marine army. This is a 1980 point army. That's because of the balanced data slate. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the other 20 points. So this is what we got so far. I'll probably pop an upgrade on Mr. Librarian over here. But for the time being, it's 1980, and this is what we got. We got the 2 units of scouts. They, of course, have a missile launcher. You just can't see it, but it's there. We got a missile launcher and a sniper rifle in every squad. Everyone else has, like, shotguns, I guess. They die so fast that I don't think I've ever shot the missile launcher ever. But that's, you know, scouts are really good because they infiltrate, they scout, and that's all I need to say. For 65 points, what the hell? Scouts are crazy good. This list used to be a little bit different. These things, what are these called? Sorry, guys. These things are not usually in the list. I used to have some Inceptors instead, which are much better. However, the Inceptors going up in points, along with the aggressors going up in points. Basically, most of my army went up in points, except for a couple things. So I had to rearrange what I had. Scouts were always first, though. When I build lists, in this edition at least, I start with my secondary units first. I don't want to build a whole list and get all these really cool units in it and go, yeah, I've got all my land raiders and I've got all this other stuff and I can't drop any of that because it's too cool to drop. Oh, I forgot about the 500 points of secondary units. Well, I only have 300 points left. What am I going to do? None of that. I start with my secondary units first and then I build from there. So we got the 2 units of scouts. We have, this is the new include. I'd like to take 6 eradicators, but at the moment I can't afford them. Even if I drop one of these, I still cannot take a second unit of these. I'm 5 points over, so not sure what to do about that. We'll get to it at some point. But for the time being, we have the 3 eradicators instead of 6. Now, we also have these Outrider things, these Invader ATVs, and I'm sure most of you are probably scratching your head wondering why they're in the list at all, and I'll tell you. They're only 70 points. They're fast, they gain assault because of the Firestorm assault thing. The multi-melters are going to be strength 10 when they're within 12 inches, but the main reason they're in here is because they're 8 wounds, and they're just kind of durable for their points. They're fast, durable, they're just meant to get me secondaries. They're kind of a replacement for the Inceptors in this build. Feels like a bad decision. It probably is. We'll see how it goes. But for right now, that's what we got. Now, you probably noticed Vulcan over here hanging out with his Infernus Marines. They pop inside of this transport, this Impulsor. The Impulsor has the comms array on it so that I can try to get command points back because I don't have a lot of CP regeneration in this army. So that sort of kind of serves that purpose when it's able to. Now, we also have these guys. 2 units of Flamestorm aggressors. This unit's not modeled that way, but nobody cares. So we got 2 units of Flamer aggressors. One of them has a captain. He's got the Iron Halo, that's how you can tell. So Mr. Iron Halo, he's got Forged in Battle, so he's flipping either a wound roll or a save roll once per turn, to a 6. So when I fail a saving throw for one of the dudes in the unit, I just flip that to a 6, I'm good to go. Now, they are rocking around in Land Raiders, and they are, of course, Land Raider Redeemers. They have multi-meltas, hunter killer missiles, storm bolters, they're packed with guns. And the Land Raiders themselves do most of the damage. Them and the aggressors. They kind of get into the center of the table, they just kind of sit there and go, what's good, bro? What are you gonna do? So we got all that. We have the assassin as well. She's an auto pick. You never leave home without this assassin in this edition. She's just way too good. What the heck is on my hand? What the heck? Anyway, the last thing that we have is the unit of infiltrators. This unit is awesome. It does literally nothing the entire game, but it keeps my backfield safe and it prevents deep striking. I recently played against Tyranids at an RTT. Both my first and second game were Tyranids. This unit just said, you don't get secondaries, Mr. Biovore. So really, really good unit. You can't interact with them because the Phobos Librarian makes them a lone op, and their main rule is that you can't deep strike within 12 inches of them. So when my assassin goes, I'm gonna come right here. Oh, I can't, I gotta be here. I wanna shoot you. Well, you can't because you have to be outside of 12. You also can't charge because you're outside of 12. So they're just really hard to interact with and they keep your backfield safe. It is 170 points of does absolutely nothing, but sometimes having absolutely nothing is good when it's keeping your backfield safe. They're all-stars. They live every single game, and I'm not exaggerating. I have never lost this unit in any game. So that's the whole thing. That's 1980. Only one relic, or enhancement they call them this edition, which is just the Forged in Battle on the Mr. Gravis Captain guy in there. So what does the army actually do? How does it play? What do we got going on here? Mainly, the 2 Land Raiders with the guys inside, they'll generally go up the sides of the table or try to take like the objectives that are on the sides instead of going straight up the table. But the Land Raiders just don't die. You've really got to get into combat with them with some really hard-hitting stuff to get rid of them. They'll just absorb like anti-tank shooting all day long when they are in cover, and when you put Armor of Contempt on them, they're super hard to get through. And then when you've got a payload inside like that, it's a really, really scary unit. So they basically just drive up to objectives and they kind of just sit there. Usually somebody will be on the objective and I'll just get out, dump on them, and just take it from them. That's what they do. The rest of the army, besides Vulcan and his friends there that go in the Impulsor, so like this stuff and the Assassin and I guess them, these are what do my secondaries. So your scouts can jump off the table, as you guys probably know. So they're just going to hide behind a wall and they're going to jump up. And then in the turn after, they're going to come onto the table, get me, investigate signals or some other thing like that. Scouts are awesome. Don't underestimate scouts. Don't underestimate the scouts. So secondaries, they just play the secondary game. That's what these things are for. Like I said, I replaced my Inceptors because they were too expensive to fit into the list now. I'll probably put them back in, but at 130 points, I'm actually wondering if they're worth taking anymore. They would come down and usually kill something, but it's hard to justify them at 130 points, I think. So we'll see what happens, but for the time being, I'm just going to run these around the table and see if they can get me my secondary points instead. These are never, ever, ever going to be used to actually try to kill something because they're going to fail, it's going to feel bad, and I'm going to get upset. So they're just going to drive up, get me secondary points, and my opponent's going to be like, they have how many wounds? So that's basically what those things are for. These, the new include, I really wanted some anti-tank shooting that wasn't just trying to twin link my flamers with Vulcan. So I decided, well, I've got extra points. Let me try a unit of the Eradicators. So we're going to see what they can do. Like I said, I'd love to have a second unit of these guys because I'll just keep them in reserve and then just pop out where they need to be, hopefully kill a tank with them. And that's just kind of the way that it'll go. I'm just not sure yet, but that's the plan anyway. So that's my overview here. I want to know what you guys think of this Firestorm Assault Force. I've had a lot of luck with this. I've been playing it a lot recently, and the only game that I've lost so far was to Derek. So, not saying the army's great or anything, but when you've got two Land Raiders with aggressors inside, it becomes difficult to kill them. It's easy to kill one Land Raider. You can kind of focus it down, or you can kind of ignore it. When there's two of them, it becomes a lot more difficult. I really love the Land Raider. I don't know why people don't take two of them. Probably because they're 260 points. Now, you may be wondering what this army does, and I'll explain to you what it does. It goes up to the midfield and says, "This is mine." And then when your opponent tries to get up to the midfield, it just breaks their back. All the aggressors can pop out. The Flamestorm cannons on the Land Raiders just disintegrate things. Vulcan and his guys, becoming strength 6 and 7 on all their flamers. They can shoot out of this if you really want to. You won't get Vulcan to be able to pick something in that case, but at least they're safe inside of the transport. Those three units, this, and this, they usually stay not quite this close to each other, but they're usually within 18 or so inches of each other. So maybe something along, those lines. And yeah, I mean, you can see the size of the table. They generally just try to take not the center, but they generally try to take the middle of the table, the midboard, and just bully you with these flamers. I can give dev wounds to both the units if I want to. Vulcan, making the Flamestorm cannons twin linked, will kill an Imperial Knight. It just breaks your back. That's how I designed it. I designed it to play kind of cagey because a lot of things will start in transports, like all this stuff, those things. They'll start in transports, they can't be targeted. And then, these are all hiding. The one unit's infiltrating, they're off the table. They may be off the table even. Just kind of depends on the matchup. But it just gets to the middle of the table and just says, "What's good, bro? What are you going to do about it?" And it just breaks your opponent's back. Now, I did have a little bit of trouble trying to deal with like 100 Tyranid monsters all at the same time. The army, it has trouble killing a lot of vehicles very quickly, which is part of the reason why I put the Eradicators in there. But, I mean, I won both those games pretty handily, so, and I'm sure I made mistakes on those as well. We make mistakes every game, guys. Just get used to it. So, it's a back-breaking army. It gets into the middle of the table. It says, "Do you want this objective? Okay, cool. Here come two Land Raiders. Here come a ton of flamers from the aggressors. Dev wounds all around. Everyone gets dev wounds. You get dev wounds. I get dev wounds. We all get dev wounds." And by the time that turn has ended for me, usually half my opponent's army is destroyed. So that, along with all my secondary units kind of popping around, doing the thing, I've had a lot of luck with it. Now, I did forget to mention something about the Land Raiders. It's obvious, which is probably why I didn't think of it when I was speaking a little bit ago. These things are crazy, crazy, crazy. They're an insane Overwatch target. When I was playing Derek, he moved a Grandmaster Dread Knight up, and I basically killed it with an Overwatch. Granted, he rolled pretty poor, but I got like 10 wounds on it or something, and he failed like a bunch. It wasn't that many. I did like 10 wounds to his dude, and I think he made 1, so I guess I got 6 wounds on him from a single Land Raider, and that's one of the beauties of this army is the Overwatch potential is outrageous. There's a lot of really cool tricks that I'm just going to call them the salamanders, that the salamanders can do with their transports. Like you can hop out after this is shot at, and that's actually pretty useful. When I was playing against Derek, he had another Grandmaster, it might have been, no, it was a different one. He had another Grandmaster that was wounded. Well, he went and shot at my Land Raider. My guys popped out, and they flamed him and killed him. They just took him off the table. I then created a wall around the Land Raider so that his other Dread Knight couldn't just charge and kill it with the hammer. I killed like 3 of these things instead of killing my Land Raider. So being able to Overwatch with these is just so good. You can drive up to a unit, not kill it, and then say, you want to move? Go ahead. I get a free shooting phase. So just wanted to mention that real quick because the Land Raiders themselves are just so damn good. People are really scared of Land Raiders in general, but the Redeemers specifically, because of that Overwatch potential, because of the Armor of Contempt, they're just impossible to deal with sometimes, and I love it. Now I'm actually thinking what I could do here. I'm going to have to actually double check this after making the video, but since I'm live right now, I'm just going to say it. If I drop both of these, I can take a second unit of scouts, a third unit of scouts, and another squad of eradicators. I'm pretty sure that works because if I drop one of these, I'm 5 points over. So if I drop one, I'm 5 points over and I have a second unit. Now if I drop one of these and replace it with this, I am 5 points down. So I'm exactly 2,000 at that point. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. These useless fucking things are coming out, putting another one of these in because scouts are just so good, and then I'm going to have another one of them. So I'll still have 3, 4, I'll call you 5.5 secondary units to do things with. So we'll see how that goes as well. Let me know if you guys like that idea better. I think I like that better. I really like these things. They look so silly, and they're so fast, and they're funny. But from a competitive standpoint, they're awful, and I think having a third unit of scouts is probably the call there. So I guess I just had to make this video to figure out the list I really wanted to take. But that kind of covers it. That is my 2,000 point Space Marine list from the Firestorm Assault Force. I will get another video out to you guys with the other detachments that I've come up with. I've got a whole lot of Space Marine stuff, so I can put a whole lot of stuff on this table and make different lists. I'm going to have one that's the Raven Guard detachment. I forget what it's called, but that one is definitely the best one. And I'd really like to see how it plays. That's completely different than this, but all the detachments are designed to play differently, and they do, from what I've seen and a little bit that I've played of them. So let me know what you guys think of this army. Tell me if it's horrible. I'm pretty sure it is. And tell me what you would change about this list. Maybe you would take a unit of 10 flamer guys instead of the impulsor. Most of you would probably drop the bikes, put something else in there. I just really like having cheap secondary units that can do stuff when the rest of my army is so durable and hard to kill. If I stay in these Land Raiders and don't jump out, it's very difficult to get to them. If you somehow do pop that Land Raider, the guys inside are fine. I roll 6 dice, one of them takes a mortal wound, whatever. And then they just flame kill you, fine. So let me know what you guys think. These are going to be some real short videos that I'm going to bring to you guys over the next few months that go over the lists that I can build with the different armies that I have. Tau are going to be the next one up. I know I told somebody this was going to be the first one, but I had to do Space Marines first because it was already sitting on my table, and I was like, you know what? Let's just get this done. So, as always, guys, be sure to hit the bell icon, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Check out our other videos as well, and I will see you in the next one.